Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Stars and Strikes Doubles. From the legendary bowling center, Stars and Strikes Doubles features the best candlepin bowlers from around New England in team competition. Stars and Strikes Doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome once again to Candlepin Stars and Strikes Doubles here on the Winds. I'm Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy, and once again it is semi-final week. We're down to our final three teams here in our doubles competition, Dan, and we've got a hot team right now. Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards have really been tearing it up the last 2 weeks.
A hot team, yes, and we got two teams that are waiting in the wings that are can get equally as hot, and we got some pretty tough competition if they're going to win two more.
Right now, we talked about this a little bit at the end of last week's show. We had one team already this season, our first series of the year. Ed Jerolman and Brian Fuller rolled through 4 shows unbeaten to get to the Tournament of Champions. Now Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards are halfway there. What is there any strategy you can possibly put together here? You're on a roll. We talked about what do you do if things are going poorly. What do you do if things are going right?
Well, in their case, I think they just got to stay within themselves and bowl as a team and be aggressive. I think if a team does not bowl well, it's usually because they're a little timid when they get up there when the lights go on instead of getting up there and attacking those pins. And I think that's the difference in this team.
All right, let's talk about our two teams. First of all, the two-time defending champions. They started as the number 5 seeds, but they haven't been bowling like a number 5 seeded team. From Natick, Massachusetts, Tom O'Brien, his partner from Plastow, New Hampshire, Dave Richards.
Okay, Tom's come in averaging 128. That all-important roll-off score is 647, and Dave Richards at 126 and 645.
And, of course, last week they rolled a 414 to knock off Dan Mitchell and Chuck Godzik. The week prior to that, they rolled a 392. So Tom and Dave have been averaging over 400 their first 2 weeks here on the program. They'll try and make it 3 in a row today. The team trying to stop them is our number 2-seeded pair. From Stoneham, Massachusetts, Bob Kelly and his partner from Newport, New Hampshire, Larry Valcourt.
Okay, Bob comes in averaging 126. Larry comes in averaging 123. The roll-off score, respectively, 667, 663. These two bowlers have 16 wins between them, so they're veterans, too.
In fact, there are a lot of wins among the 4 guys on today's show. And, of course, third prize money goes to the runners-up today. They'll split $250. The winners will move into the championship match next week. We'll tell you more about that after our first break. And then we'll get the first of these 3 double strings going right after these messages. Don't go away. All right, we have 3 teams remaining, and one of them is our number 5-seeded team. Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards have rolled up the impressive scores the last 2 weeks, beating first Rollins and Brooks, and then Mitchell and Godzik. Now they'll take a crack at our number 2-seeded team, Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt. The winners of this match, of course, come back next week to face our top-seeded team of Steve Vadney and Bill Coppo. Dave Richards now to start this match. Why fool with a plan that's worked? Dave has started the last 2 weeks, so. And I guess it's working still, at least for now.
Yeah, it crosses over in the 1-2 pocket, and let's see. 6 and a 9 pins go down for the strike, and you're right. Don't fool with success.
Oh, hold that one just a little bit.
Half Worcester left.
Playing it inside, and not quite. Piece of wood rolling right behind the 5-pin. And the 10, 29 for Dave. And that brings up Larry Valcourt, who'll kick it off for the team of Kelly and Valcourt. Larry was here several times last year. The last time was also in doubles competition. He was partnered with Ed Gerolman. They lost to Bill Hart and Mark Arnold, another hot doubles team from last year.
That was for a long time, though. We had a tough time getting a double winner. Remember?
Right. That's right.
And all of a sudden, teams are coming on and bowling very well as a team and winning 3 or 4 matches in a row.
Larry from Newport, New Hampshire, starting with that 9 box. Larry and his wife Terry have a 17-year-old daughter, Robin. Larry's the manager, as many of you probably know by now, of Sunset Lanes in Newport. Certainly those of you who are regular customers know that.
Ooh, good break there.
And Larry may get a better break because that piece of wood in front may be out of play. I'll have Cindy Sissom go down and check it. And it is touching the dead wood line and out of play. So it'll be a clear shot at the 9-pin with wood in front for Larry Valcourt. And he takes it out.
So they have their first mark, spare, and the rest of them, you see the strike, which Dave Richards threw the first ball of the match.
Tom O'Brien now. That big arm swing, a left-hander, generates a lot of power. And he's got the 1, 8, and 9. And he's thinking about it. Decides to stay away from the wood and does not carry the 9. He elected to go away from the side where the wood was, figuring he could get it moving a little bit better. But it wasn't enough to carry the 9-pin out. There's the 10. Tom O'Brien from Natick, Massachusetts. And he's in the pocket again, and there's a strike. Or in the pocket for the first time, I should say, and that was the result. He's been in the pocket a lot, though, the last 3 weeks. You've been with us watching.
2 marks for that team and both strikes. Now Bob Kelly will fill the spare put up by his partner, Larry Valcourt.
Bob for his first 2 boxes of this match.
I believe he has to use the piece of wood almost down the center of the lane, but may not be out far enough to carry the 610 with the ball. Let's see. Not quite.
Bob was with us as a #1 seed in singles just a few weeks ago. Lost that championship match to Mark Gregory. So Bob is back for a go here in doubles with his partner Larry Valcourt. Bob's been here. This is now his 24th appearance overall on the Winds, and will he carry that 3-pin?
If he does, he might carry the 2 and the 4 as well.
Didn't go for him.
He wants to catch a piece of the 3-pin as well as the wood.
There you go.
How to make that one. Matches the mark already put up on the board. Now they have 2 marks, both being spares.
So each bowler has had first 2 boxes recorded, and now we go back around to Dave Richards. And again, he's in the pocket. That just somehow seems unfair when that happens. A shot like that. The 5 and the 10.
Can be made, though.
It's an 8 fill on the strike. And a 9 box, 66 half. Tom O'Brien, Dave Richards averaging 403 for their 3-string totals the first 2 weeks.
Two, 4, 6, 10. No wood to help Dave.
And that'll be a 9 box. Couple of 9s for Dave, so that leaves an opening for Larry Valcourt. Tomorrow at noon, don't forget, Stars and Strikes semifinal week continues. Singles competition. Chuck Langlois off his big 424 last Sunday. Goes for his second win in a row. He'll face number 2 seed Chris Sargent. That's tomorrow on Stars and Strikes at noon here on the Winds. Larry Valcourt flies that wood over, but can't get the 10-pin.
You want to be a little more left of that 2-pin. Score stands at 62 through 5 for Valcourt and Kelly. Score is now corrected.
And big first ball, and the 10-pin's still there. The spare, no. And that'll be a 9 box. The ball slipping down into the channel. So the lead is still 4 for O'Brien and Richards. Tom O'Brien. Tom thought he had a half Worcester on that ball.
Did he put 2 fingers up again? I missed it.
He got 4 more than he thought.
I think he meant 2 and double it. Chops out just the head pin.
Tom works as an assistant operations manager. Does most of his bowling at the Fairway Sports World in his hometown of Natick, and also at the Hanover Bowl in Hanover, Mass. An 8 for Tom. And a little drought here for both teams. Well, this could go.
2, 3, 6. You want to try to miss the 3-pin and catch the wood in the 6-pin. That should twist the wood in between the 2 and the 3 and hopefully take both of them.
Oh. Well. And it's a 9. Bob Kelly, Stoneham, Massachusetts. Bob and his wife, Marianne, have a 4-year-old son, Cameron. And there's a big strike for Bob in the 7th.
You see he's got the triangle at first, and everything comes forward for the strike. Their 3rd mark of the match. 2 spares, and that's their first strike now. Bob Kelly moves on to lane 29, looking for the double strike.
Oh.
That close.
Wow. Just behind the 4-pin. Bob works as a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service. Looking for the spare on strike, and he's got it. Couple of marks for Bob Kelly that trip.
And that gives them the lead for the first time in the match.
Dave Richards, the 1, 2, 7 and 10 with wood on the deck. Now the high-low jack.
That gives them an even 100 through 9.
Still looking for their first spare down. They had 2 strikes early, but no spares yet. Chance for one here. 1, 3, and 6. Yes. Spare in the 10th. This is how it's done. Just like that. And the big fill. Make it 20 in the 10th for Dave Richards. That's 3 strikes for the team in the first game. None of them came together. Big strike on Spare in the 10th and a 120 for the team of O'Brien and Richards.
Larry Valcourt will be filling the spare left by his partner Bob Kelly, and it's a decent fill of 7 and a very makeable spare. The 2-4-7 piece of wood in between the 2 and the 4.
Yes, sir. 3 marks in a row for the team. Kelly and Valcourt, they'll have the lead after this first game. The 120, Dan, for O'Brien and Richards, that's their lowest game in the 7 they've rolled in this series. Last week they had 132, 145, and 137. Big first ball for Larry Valcourt, 9 drop. And they may have a pretty substantial lead after this first game if Larry can convert this one. Spare here would probably push the lead up over 20. There it is. 137 plus a ball. And the fill is 6, 143. So for the second straight week, the team of O'Brien and Richards finds themselves trailing after one game, 143 to 120, a 23-pin advantage for Kelly and Valcourt. The middle game is next after these words. Here's Bob Kelly to start game 2 here at the Londonderry Bowling Center. Semi-final week here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Our semi-final weekend continues tomorrow. At noon, Chuck Langlois against Chris Sargent in singles competition.
6-10 on the right, 4-7 left. Piece of wood in front of both of the pairs of pins.
Bob never got the jump that he expected there. And it's a 7. Back on the head pin. This time he gets only one of the pairs to remain standing.
And that being the 4-7. You have to watch out for 2 pieces of wood out in front.
Way out in front. That's the problem. No, he drives it back though.
Very nicely done. That was a more difficult shot than it appeared.
That's the 7th mark already for the team of Kelly and Valcourt. O'Brien and Richards have 4. 3 of them are strikes. Tom O'Brien will shoot at a corner triangle now. No.
Right around the 7.
Probably the triangle more than any other shot, Dan, of 3 or more pins is a shot that you can look like you've made when you throw the shot, and then it doesn't turn out that way.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't take much just to throw the ball a little, or throw the pin, I should say, a little more to the left or to the right. Well, no triangle here. 6 pin with a piece of wood in front. Second piece now rolling up. And you probably just as soon see that one roll into the pit area.
And it may do that. Indeed it does. No trouble there for Tom.
Matches a spare already put up by Valcourt and Kelly. And Larry Valcourt will fill that spare. Light hit, let's see, 8. And the 7 and 8 pins left couple pieces of wood in front.
For the spare, yes, indeed. 2 in a row for the team.
And slowly but surely increasing that lead. Now it's at 28. Three, 4, 7, 10 piece of wood angled in front of the 3-pin toward the 4 and 7. Could make this shot. Throws hard though. The ball's liable to take off. Oh, he got some nice sidewall. Ball took off. I think the ball might have got the 4-pin. Let's see. Yeah, right there. And then a piece of wood came across to clear out the 7. 3 in a row, and their 9th mark.
That's correct. 9 out of 13. 9 out of 14, rather. Dave Richards working on a spare, kicking out 7.
2, 4, 6. Sounds easier than it is. No wood to help.
No. Nice effort by Dave. And it's a 9. So the lead up now to 28. Kelly and Valcourt have a spare working here in the 4th. I always like to watch and comment on the styles of the different bowlers, and Dave is kind of interesting in the respect that you can't always pick it up on camera, but he rocks back on his left foot.
Just before he starts his 3 steps. Yeah.
Let's see if we can watch it here. There he goes, right back. And then he goes forward. It's an 8-box for Dave. So he is open twice, and we will break once right here in the middle portion of this second game and come back with more here on Stars and Strikes Double. Stick around. Well, Bob Kelly is working on a spare left by his partner Larry Valcourt, and they've got 3 marks in a row working right now as they continue to build on a lead.
And he goes right through the middle. 2, 4, 3, 6.
So that ends the stretch of marks. It's a 66 half, and exactly halfway through the match now, Kelly and Valcourt at 209. Pretty good.
I would say.
And now a spread eagle.
And Bob will try to clear out the 2, 4, and 7. And he does. Will he take another one?
He'll push the button at 8. Tom O'Brien looking for some extra action, and he almost had a diamond leave, but he'll take the single instead, especially with the wood out front.
His partner says, nice little guide right down the center of the lane. Want to stay away from the one on the left.
He got it.
Really needs it. That lead has now grown to 35 minus this ball. He's missing the 9-pin. Now have to re-rack.
Easier for the bowlers to see that sometimes than it is for us way back here, because they're
1 re-rack and 3 timeouts. That's all I get. Now he's got 10 pins up there.
just missed the head pin.
They got away with 8. However, the 2 that are left are the 1 pin and the 7 pin. No wood to help.
The ball will be cutting away from the 7 pin.
While Tom is finishing this box up, I'd like to mention that the next Candlepin Instructors Clinic that I'll be putting on will be at Baldinelli's Bowlaway in Amesbury, Massachusetts, the first Sunday in December, which is coming up very shortly. So if you're interested, contact your nearest state association house, Massachusetts, Vermont. In Vermont, yes, they do have one that belongs to Western Mass, I believe. Or New Hampshire or Maine. Now, those are the areas probably that will take in this school. You have to be sponsored by a bowling center. It's a day-long clinic, and you'll be certified as a Candlepin instructor.
So that would be Sunday, December 5th.
Is it the 5th?
Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
know. It's 4th or 5th. I can't remember. Yesterday, so.
Well, yesterday wasn't the 4th either. $10 for Larry Valcourt. Larry just clearing a loose ball out of the channel before moving over to lane 29.
They've gone 3 boxes in a row now without a mark.
After 3 marks in a row. And actually, going back to the previous game, they had 7 marks in 8 boxes for this little dry stretch here, and there's a break on the 10th pin.
Before you said 9 out of 13, I believe. I think that's where it stopped. You said they had 9 marks out of 13. Ho hum, rally killer himself, sitting right next to me. 2-4. Larry's going to start another rally right here.
I never say no hitter in baseball, though.
I wonder if anybody said no hitter in that game that ended up 15-14 this year's series.
No pitchers in that game.
I think you and I got a hit in that game. Lead stands at 25 now, but 2 open frames for Dave Richards to work on, trying to make it 3 wins in a row for the team of himself and Tom O'Brien. Now got a break with the 10-pin went out of there. 2, 7, 8, and 5.
See a lot of pins flying around on this shot. All that wood down there.
Oh,
Not enough.
tough break there. See the reaction of Dave in that shot. He thought he could carry that for a spare.
It's a 10, but another opportunity wasted. Opposite an 8 box now here in the 8th. Looking to gain more ground. Back on the head pin, all of them.
Now that 7-pin looms even more important, that he thought he hit that for a spare, and of course now he comes back with a strike. And that would have been 10 big pins off that lead. Bob Kelly for the final 2 this second game.
And Bob almost threw one. He's left with the 4-pin. And there's the spare, ending the drought. It's 10 marks for the team. Bob takes 5 on the fill.
1, 2, 6, 8, and 10. Oh, that close.
Wow. Bob came back from that shot. He looked like he had it. He thought he had it. Instead, it's a 9, a 116, and a 2-game total 259. Let's look.
Oh, it's a sleeper in the back, the 8-pin. Well, big box for Tom O'Brien, working on a strike. Down by 23.
Tom knew he had pulled that. I think he threw that one a little extra hard.
I think you're right.
He can still recover, though. This is a strike fill, remember. Seven. Chopping 7 more off the lead. It's now 16. But, of course, he's opposite a spare 5 here.
So I almost lose those pins right back again. Well, not quite.
So the lead 21, but a big opportunity here in the 10th to get that lead under 20 going into the third game. Oh, great ball. Touch 'em all.
I think you had a good shot of that one, Doug, right behind him, and there was just no doubt about it. Watch how quick these go.
Well, I'll tell you one other thing, too, about that shot. He took a little bit off on that one. That was more like his regular delivery. The other one he threw a little harder.
You should get a little adrenaline flowing there, and you think you can put it in a little harder. It doesn't always work. 1-3-9. More often than not, it doesn't work.
And it'll be a 9, Phil, a 128, 248 for the team of O'Brien and Richards, 259 for Kelly and Valcourt. The lead just 11 for our challengers. O'Brien and Richards looking to make it 3 wins in a row. They're going to have to come from behind in the third. We'll be back. We had a look at Bob Kelly watching Dave Richards step to the line to begin this third game.
11 pins, not many. 7, 9, 10.
Well, this will be the first time that O'Brien and Richards have faced a deficit in the third game. Oh, Dave misfired on that one. He wanted to catch the 10 pin and the wood there next to the 9.
Wanted to catch a little bit of that, give himself a shot at 9 and the 7. Catch a little bit of the wood in front of the 9. Now he'll just grab one. Ooh.
Or 2.
Ooh. Now he's saying, well, maybe that was the shot.
Back in the pocket, yes. Well, after the near miss on the spare, he comes back with the strike.
It's all business up there right now. Tell by the expression on his face. A lot of concentration on all the bowlers right now. Close match.
The team of Kelly and Valcourt has made a change. They've elected to have Bob Kelly lead off again here in the third, as he did in the second, so he'll bowl the extra 2 frames at the end. You notice there's an awful lot of camaraderie and joking around among the bowlers, but when the match gets to this point and it's close, it gets a little more serious.
All of a sudden the high five stops and they concentrate up there. And
Bob is back on the head pin and rattled the 10, but didn't knock it down.
so the winner of this match goes on to championship week next week against Steve Vadney and Bill Coffold.
Oh,
Pretty tough
Bob.
team in its own right.
Absolutely. Bob Kelly snuck that ball in between the piece of wood and the 10.
This match is just about going to be dead even after the fill of the strike.
Well, here's another one of these situations, Dan, and this bears watching. We've talked about this before. Right now in the match, Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards have 6 strikes. There you go.
Wow.
And
just 2 spares.
actually, it's 3 spares.
3 spares now.
But normally, when either an individual or a team gets in this situation where they have more strikes than spares, unless they start throwing strikes
Together.
in a row, they can get into trouble.
Usually means they might be missing a lot of spare opportunities.
Nope.
This match is just a mere 2 pins now.
Just a contrast. Richards and O'Brien with 3 spares and 6 strikes. Kelly and Valcourt have 9 spares and 1 strike. 6 strikes, but none of them have been back-to-back. Had that happened, this match could be entirely different.
So total marks are how many for each side?
10 for Kelly and Valcourt and 9.
10 and 9. And the difference is only 2.
And how about this shot? The 3, 7, and 9.
Piece of wood be in between the 3 and 9, but
Nothing doing.
every pin is so very important now. You see him take a little extra time even on the third ball. 7 and 9 pins still left. Double piece of wood next to the 7.
He got by there somehow. I don't think he wanted to. 2 pins the difference, but 2 open frames for O'Brien and Richards. So Larry Valcourt will try and take advantage here.
When was the last time we had overtime?
Many years. And never in doubles. There's a big strike for Larry.
And Larry says, I don't want it now either.
We've never had extra time here in the doubles show.
Wow. Well, they moved that 4-pin right over. That'd be a shame if that stood up.
Now working on the strike.
Probably want to shoot right at the 3-pin here. Hope you can cap that end of that piece of wood and send the ball over toward the 7-pin.
Let's see. Well, he did that.
Well, hang
Hold
on.
on.
I don't think it's got enough momentum to carry it, no.
Boy, that piece of wood almost went off into the pit, and it just hung on. Wasn't enough.
Dave Richards kind of wiping his brow there, saying, well, that was close.
And that's a 9 box, and of course, as we mentioned, every pin critical. The lead right now, 11. The team of O'Brien and Richards trailing, trying to get their 3rd win in a row. Can they do it? We'll find out when we come back. All right, here we go. The stretch drive semifinal match. It's been a great one. There's the situation as Dave Richards steps up in the 5th.
Trailed by 11 coming in. After 4 boxes, it's still 11. 3, 6, 10, and the 7.
Well, depending on where this wood ends up, Dave will then play his strategy.
Well, got to have the 3, so. Oh, boy, that would, well, that might have enough momentum.
Not quite. Wow.
First piece of wood just missed it, and then that piece of wood roll up and just not quite enough to knock over the 7-pin.
Dave Richards works at MVP Sports. He and his wife Beth live in Plastow, New Hampshire. Dave does a lot of his bowling at Park Place Lanes in Wyndham and also at the Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill. It's a 10 box. And now the 4 horsemen plus the 8. Dave not making it easy on himself.
No, and they're leaving the door open to. Well, there goes the door. They
That
just shut it.
time he had enough. That time the wood took care of it for him.
It's what a competitor. Didn't give him much of a chance of making this. Played the outside, head pin stays in play, rolls back, clears out the 8-pin, spare, and a big one.
Bob Kelly.
Right back in the pocket. Another 4-pin for a spare.
That was only the 4th spare of the match for Dave Richards and Tom O'Brien, and yet they're still hanging right in it. That's a spare for Bob Kelly. So that will temporarily at least increase the lead. By 6.
Four, 6, 10.
Right, and remember he's opposite a spare.
Oh, he's got it, he's got it.
Oh my. What a great shot that was, and what a time to do it.
As soon as he let that ball go, he was like 3 feet off the ground. He knew he was very close to making that if he didn't make it entirely, and he did. Big spare. A lot of pressure just put on the team of O'Brien and Richards now.
And that's just a 3 fill for Tom.
It's the most body English I've ever seen Bob Kelly put on a shot.
Well, he knew how important that shot was. As that could very well push their lead over 20 heading into the Final Four when Larry Valcourt fills that mark.
Yeah, this is almost a must-mark frame for the team of O'Brien and Richards. And it's not going to be an easy one. The 3, the 5, and the 7. Just going to have to try to go on the right-hand side of the 3, move everything from right to left.
Oh, no. Well, again, how many times have we seen it? More strikes than spares. First of all, it usually means you don't have that many spares. And right now, O'Brien and Richards in a tough spot.
Yeah, they're hoping Larry makes a big mistake on this spare. Otherwise, it could be lights out.
Hits the head pin, but carries 7.
The 1, the 2, and the 7 pins left. The big thing was the fill on the spare. That pushes the lead up over 20.
Yes, big mark there in the 7th. That's 3 in a row for Kelly and Valcourt. And they are going to be tough to beat right now. The lead 23 plus this ball. And how about 10 more? It's 33. Strike on spare.
Yes, sir. No doubt about that one. 4 marks in a row, 5 in this game. 3 spares and 2 strikes, a 34 pin advantage plus the strike working. That should just about do it.
No. Dave goes by the single pin. And again. So Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards, who had a terrific 2-week run, can't get it done today. There's the spare in the 10th. 107 plus a ball. That's 5 spares and 6 strikes now for the team. And a 4 fill. 111 and a 3-game total of 359 for O'Brien and Richards. Bob Kelly has a chance to give his team a 400 here with another mark here to close it out. Hell, how about that one?
You asked for it.
That ought to do it. That's 131 plus a ball in the 9th. Well, that was kind of routine after the other one he made. Big 9 drop on it.
They're going to end up with 6 marks in a row.
Maybe 7. You can finish it off with a strike. There's the spare in the 10th. That's 150. They're already well over 400. That is mark number 17. And Bob will throw the final ball of the match looking for number 18. Got a chance. Yes, sir. Oh, mercy.
We talked about that margin of victory. It was a close match, and we're pretty close to that 60, 65 pin win.
160 for Kelly and Valcourt. 419 and the big win over Tom O'Brien and Dave Richards. We'll be back to talk to both bowlers and set you up for the championship next Saturday in a minute. Welcome back to the Londonderry Bowling Center. Candlepin Stars and Strikes doubles and another big score here on the program, but this time it's a different team that does it. Let's talk to our runners-up now. Big round of applause for Dave Richards and Tom O'Brien. Come on up, guys. Third prize money, $250 to share between the two of you, and boy, this time This time you were the victims of the big score this time. Boy, they really put some numbers on you, especially those last two games.
Yeah, it seems like every time I bowl against Bobby, he's got to cut that 2-2 over. He did it to me in the singles. He missed the single in this box before that, and he comes back and cuts the 2-2 over. So.
You have a good memory for stuff like that, huh?
Oh, definitely.
Big numbers again. This time you guys were watching instead of hitting, Tom.
Yeah, we got a couple of bad breaks in the first couple of strings. Dave made a couple of good shots, but they don't call Bob Kelly Ski Man for nothing. Like Ski Rack. When he starts skiing, he rips the rack. He's got one of the most devastating balls in Candlepin bowling. They're a fantastic team.
Again, guys, congratulations. A great run for you as well to get the 2 wins, and we hope to see you both again real soon. Congratulations, guys. All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Let's bring up our winners now. Larry and Bob, come on up. A terrific match, a 419 for Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt, and we've talked many times about how 400s are much more difficult to come by in doubles competition than they are in singles, but you could never tell that by the way things are going this year. We've had a lot of 400 triples, and you guys really had it cooking today.
Well, after the first 2 strings, it looked like nobody wanted it at the 3rd string, and things started going well together for us, and we just strung them out.
You knew that you had made that shot, right?
Well, you get to know him after a while how good you throw the ball. It's going to have a shot at making a shot. And almost didn't want to knock over, but lucky for us, it fell over.
I think what happens, you guys were able to get marks together. You're able to pick each other up, fill each other's marks well, get those strings of marks together. That's what you need, obviously.
Oh yeah, once things start rolling down, boy, it's just easy to keep going with the flow. Just keep it rolling. It's a lot easier to keep it going than getting it started.
Well, and now the question is, can you keep it rolling until next week? You've got Steve Vadney and Bill Koffold coming in.
Well, let's hope they roll good for us again.
We'll see you next week, guys. Congratulations. Thanks very much. Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt are winners. And here's the setup now for next week's championship match. Next Saturday at 12 noon here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, it'll be our number 2 seeds, Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt, against the number 1 seeds, Steve Vadney and Bill Koffold. And that match, just an indication, Dan, of how tough it is to roll 4 scores in a row. Tom and Dave had put a couple of great scores together, and today not too bad either, a 359, but just not nearly enough when Bob and Larry get going.
No, that's to lose to those 2 guys. It's it happens, and those guys are terrific bowlers. But now we got Steve Vadney and who's his partner, Billy Koffold? You kidding me? It doesn't get any easier, does it? These guys have been here before, and it should be a great championship week next week.
All right, don't forget to tune in tomorrow at noon. First of all, as our semifinal weekend continues in singles, it'll be Chuck Langlois looking for his 2nd win in a row against Chris Sargent. Next Saturday at noon, of course, championship weekend begins here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. In the meantime, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend next week, and we'll see you soon right here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. For Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good weekend, everybody.